In my previous videos, I have been able to establish that Iran is going into this war well supported, well kitted, and well assisted by its allies, especially non-state allies. While I have also proven the thesis that America is going into this war very naked, very isolated, and essentially without the support of any of its major allies. Now, this video is going to be the first of a series where we are going to be analyzing who exactly, which entities exactly are the allies of Iran as they proceed into this war, and what each of them is bringing to the table, what each of them have done so far, currently in the war and in the past, and what the relative strengths and weaknesses of each of those allies are, especially as they bring to bear the military and the logistic support into this war. And the very first entity we are going to be discussing is Iraq. You see, when you speak of Iraq, particularly vis-a-vis how Iraq supports, this war, the as in Iran against America, Israel, and their allies. Iraq is split into multiple entities. For example, one of the entities is what we call PMF, Popular Mobilization Force. The PMF is a military paramilitary organization which forms a large chunk of the former Iraqi security military apparatus. However, they are much more Iran allied. The Popular Mobilization Forces are much more allied with Iran. And that is because there's a long history there, especially because Iran supported Iraq massively when it was time to fight and push out ISIS from Iraq. That is one entity. The second entity are the quasi civilians of Iraq. And that is also because the Iraqis are majority Shia. Don't forget that Iran is not just majority Shia, Iran is the guardian state of Shiism in the entire wide world. So, because of that, the Shia majority of Iraq will naturally align with the Iranians because of the shared Iraqi faith. In fact, there is a pivotal scholar in Iraq. That scholar is called Ayatollah Ali Sistani. Ayatollah Ali Sistani. Note that name very well. You see, Ayatollah Ali Sistani is based in a city called Najaf in Iraq. Najaf is considered one of the most holy places and places of pilgrimage for Shiites worldwide. So Ayatollah Ali Sistani is in close cahoots, with the Ayatollahs of Iraq. Essentially, Iran has a massive military, diplomatic, and civilian masthead in Iraq, and they have supported, massively. Let us go back to the PMF and see what military contributions the PMF has brought to bear in this war. First and foremost is that the Kurds, don't forget the Kurds. The Kurds are a major quasi-military entity that Trump, America, and Israel intended to use to fight Iraq, to fight Iran, to invade Iran from Iraqi territory. Immediately the war started on February 28th, it was the Iraqi PMF that started attacking the Kurdish fighters massively. They had actually anticipated that if they did not take the Kurds down, the Kurdish fighters are called Peshmerga. Peshmerga. That if they did not take the Kurdish Peshmerga, fighters down as quickly as possible and as effectively as possible, the moment the Americans are able to organize the Kurdish Peshmerga, they will be strong enough, collected enough, calm enough, and organized enough to invade Iran. So what did they do? They went immediately for the Kurdish Peshmerga and they started attacking all of their headquarters in Iraq, particularly in Iraqi Kurdistan, in areas called Erbil, Suleimaniya, and some other places. So first and foremost, the Iraqi PMF helped the Iranian Shiite fighters and brothers to lock down what would have been a major military problem, especially via ground invasion. That is in terms of the Kurds. Second, the PMF went after the Americans and European troops, that still remain in the Iranian ecosystem in the name of NATO allies who are ostensibly fighting ISIS. You see, they created that excuse. NATO, America, EU, all of us, all of them almost always fight in the same direction, right? Natural allies. They remain against the wishes of the Iraqi government, and particularly against the wishes of the Iraqi PMF, ostensibly according to them, because they remained in the Iraqi ecosystem to fight ISIS. However, the Iraqi PMF, and to a lesser extent, the Iraqi government, do not want the Americans and the NATO, soldiers in the country anymore. Now, first, this was an important opportunity for the Iraqi PMF to push out the Americans. Second was that in as much as the Americans and European, soldiers are in Iraqi territory, they can always attack Iran from there, from Iraq, and they can always again help to organize the Kurdish Peshmerga that I spoke about earlier. So immediately, the Iraqi PMS also, as in PMF fighters, also went after the Americans. They started attacking their bases. They started attacking their sanctuaries. They attacked the bases in Baghdad International Airport. In fact, they also attacked the U.S. Embassy furiously, massively. So much so that the first sign we saw was that the Europeans, particularly the Polish, the French, the Swedish, the British, the French troops, in fact, the Poles actually evacuated their own troops via airlift completely out of the Middle East back up to Poland. In the case of the French and the other European entities, they evacuated their own soldiers by road to nearby Jordan, across the border to Jordan, as in to Jordan, where the government of Jordan is friendly and is their ally. Essentially, the only entities that remain substantially of the NATO allies are the Americans, who are still insisting on not leaving the environment, but who have been heavily pushed back, heavily fought, heavily droned, heavily missiled by the Iraqi PMF. Do you understand? So, even though it is their wish to actually be able to spread out, organize themselves, get the Kurds together, and push, into Iran to start a ground invasion, the Iraqi PMF is not making it easy for them at all. So it is the Iraqi PMF that has helped to neutralize whatever the Americans are planning and orchestrating with the assistance of the Kurdish Peshmerga, to attack, Iran via land. One other thing that the Iraqis have done is that a very substantial part of the American aerial weapons, as in aerial weapon systems that America is bringing to fight the Iraqis, as in to fight the Iranians, it is through Iraqi airspace they are bringing them through. So because of that, when it was time to shoot down the first, American Stratotanker refueling plane, you remember that they used to refuel their fighter jets such that it helps them to facilitate the fighting even more. It was the Iraqis that shot that fighter jet down, not the, as in that Stratotanker refueling plane down, not the Iranians. Look at how much the Iraqi PMF is contributing. Again, the Iraqis have also been responsible for downing at least 1 or 2 F-16s in the Iraqi border, close to the Iraqi border with Iran. So, again, the PMF is helping America, is helping Iran to deter their enemies by ground and also deter their enemies by air. Beyond that, remember that Ayatollah Ali Sistani that I spoke about earlier, he has now released a fatwa. You know what they call a fatwa? A religious edict. Essentially, that religious edict is instructing all Shiite Iraqis who are in the majority, particularly civilian, that it is now time to start, number one, donating massively from what they have, to the Iranian fighting effort. So you see them donate money, you see women donate their gold, their necklaces, their earrings and all. Number two, it is time for them to start sending humanitarian aid to the Iranians. They are sending them massively. And in fact, Iranian civilians, even Arab tribes among the Shiites Iraqi civilians, even Arab tribes within the ranks of the Iraqis are now starting to prepare for war and are ready to assist the Iranians to fight back the Americans if they come in via ground. This will continue. The next entity will continue in the next video. Again, don't forget to like, share, comment, and all. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.